The moment I reached for my car keys to head to my daughter's for dinner, my phone buzzed with a message that froze me in place. Call me immediately. It's about Jessica. My lawyer's voice was grave, and what he revealed next shattered every illusion I had about my own family. I was about to walk into a dinner where nothing and no one was as it seemed. Before we continue, hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready, because this is one of the most jaw-dropping, satisfying revenge stories you'll hear today. The scent of cedar still lingered in my hallway as I adjusted my tie, preparing for dinner at my daughter's house. It was a Friday ritual, one I'd clung to since my wife passed away 2 years ago. At 68, routine was my anchor, and these dinners with Jessica and her family were the last bright thread connecting me to the life I'd built. I wanted to look my best. My daughter always noticed the little things, and I wanted her to be proud of her old man. Jessica had always been the responsible one. After her mother's illness, she stepped up, managing my appointments, helping with bills, and making sure I never felt alone. She was the kind of daughter people envied, caring, attentive, and fiercely protective. Her husband, Tom, was a successful businessman, and together they'd built a beautiful life. Their son Leo was the apple of my eye. I'd always believed that, despite the family drama I'd seen in other households, ours was different. Ours was safe. As I straightened the silver frame holding my late wife's photo, I whispered, "I'm off to see Jessica. I'll tell you all about Leo's soccer game when I get back." It was a silly habit, talking to a photograph, but it made the silence less heavy. I slipped on my charcoal jacket, feeling a sense of pride. I wanted to be the father Jessica could rely on, the grandfather Leo could look up to. My phone buzzed on the entryway table. I expected a message from Jessica, maybe a reminder to pick up dessert. Instead, the screen flashed with a name that made my heart skip: Sam Chen, my lawyer and friend of 30 years. The message was short, but the urgency in his words was unmistakable. "David, don't go anywhere. Call me immediately. Urgent." A cold knot formed in my stomach. Sam was not a man to use the word urgent lightly. My first thought was he in trouble? Had something happened to his wife? My hands trembled as I dialed his number, the phone pressed tight to my ear. He answered on the second ring, his voice low and controlled. "David, are you alone?" he asked. "Yes, Sam. I was just leaving for Jessica's. What's wrong?" "Are you all right?" "I'm fine," he replied, but his tone offered no comfort. "Listen to me very carefully. Are you sitting down?" I sank onto the bench by the door, jacket still in hand. "Sam, you're scaring me." He took a slow breath. "I should have called sooner. I've been reviewing your estate documents, the updates we made 6 months ago. As part of that, I requested comprehensive statements from your retirement funds, your investment accounts, the main portfolio." He paused, and I felt the world tilt beneath me. "David, there's a problem." "A huge problem." My heart pounded. I had no idea that the next words out of Sam's mouth would change everything I thought I knew about my own daughter. I gripped the phone tighter, my mind racing through every possible scenario. "What do you mean, Sam? What kind of problem?" Sam's voice was heavy, each word measured. "David, the reports Jessica has been sending you about your accounts, they're not real. I've compared them to the official statements from your banks. The numbers don't match. In fact, they're not even close." A chill ran through me. That can't be right. Jessica's been handling everything since Eleanor passed. She's always been so careful, so honest. I know, David. That's why I double-checked. However, the truth is that over the last 2 years, someone has been systematically draining your accounts. The retirement fund, the brokerage, even your savings. Nearly everything is gone. I felt the room spin. "Gone? How? No one else has access." Sam cut me off, his tone gentle but firm. "Except the person with your power of attorney, the one you signed over when Eleanor got sick. That's Jessica, David. She's the only one who could have done this." The words hit me like a physical blow. My daughter? The child I'd raised, protected, and trusted with everything? I tried to speak, but my throat closed up. Memories flashed through my mind. Jessica sitting at my kitchen table, reassuring me that the market was volatile, but she had it under control. Jessica waving off my questions about a large tax bill, promising she'd handled it. Every comforting word now felt like a lie. Sam continued, "I'm sorry, David. I know this is a lot, but you need to hear it. The real statements show a series of structured, deliberate. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing. And the forged reports Jessica sent you were meant to keep you in the dark." I stared at the floor, my hands shaking. The betrayal was so complete, so calculated, it made my skin crawl. I thought of all the times I'd thanked Jessica for taking care of me, for making my life easier. I thought of Leo, my grandson, and wondered if he knew what his mother was doing. "Sam, what do I do?" My voice was barely a whisper. "For now, you do nothing. You go to dinner. You act normally. If Jessica suspects you know, she could move whatever's left, destroy records, and cover her tracks. We need time to trace everything, to build a case." "But David, this is serious. It's not just family drama. It's criminal." I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. My world had shifted in an instant. The woman I loved most in the world had become a stranger, a thief hiding behind a daughter's smile. But little did Jessica know, I wasn't going to let her get away with it. Not after everything I'd lost. Not after this. I sat there for a long time after Sam hung up, the silence in my house suddenly suffocating. My mind replayed every moment with Jessica, searching for signs I'd missed. How could I have been so blind? The pain of betrayal was sharp, but beneath it, something else began to stir a cold, determined resolve. I stood and walked to the mirror in the hallway. The man staring back at me looked older than he had that morning, but behind the shock in his eyes, I saw a flicker of something I hadn't felt in years. Fight. I'd spent my life building bridges, solving problems, and protecting my family. I wasn't about to let everything I'd worked for be stolen by the very person I trusted most. I called Sam back, my voice steadier this time. "What's our next move?" He didn't hesitate. "We need evidence. I'll work on getting the official records and tracing the money. But you need to keep playing your part. Go to dinner. Be the same father you've always been. Don't let her see any change in you." I nodded, feeling the weight of the task ahead. "And after that? When the time is right, we'll confront her with proof. But until then, you have to be careful. If she senses anything, she could make things much worse." I thanked Sam and hung up, my mind already racing with possibilities. I knew Jessica's habits, her routines. I knew she'd want to keep me close, to keep control. That was her mistake. She thought I was weak, that I'd never question her. But she'd underestimated me. I spent the next hour gathering every document I could find. Old bank statements, emails, anything that might help Sam. I made copies and hid them in a safe place, just in case. I even set up a small voice recorder in my jacket pocket, hoping to catch anything Jessica might say at dinner. As I drove to her house, my nerves were raw, but my purpose was clear. I would play the part of the grateful, clueless father. I would smile, ask about Leo's soccer game, and compliment her cooking. But inside, I was watching, listening, waiting for her to slip. When I pulled into Jessica's driveway, the house looked the same as always, with warm lights glowing, the smell of dinner wafting through the air. But everything had changed. I was no longer just a guest. I was a man on a mission, determined to reclaim what was mine and expose the truth. And that's when I discovered the perfect way to ruin her plan, a way to turn her own arrogance against her. I just needed to wait for the right moment. Dinner at Jessica's was a masterclass in performance. I walked through the door, greeted by the familiar scent of her home-roasted chicken, fresh bread, and a hint of lemon from the flowers on the table. She smiled, warm and welcoming, and for a moment I almost believed nothing had changed. But I knew better now. Every gesture, every word was a mask. Tom greeted me with his usual firm handshake, and Leo ran up for a hug. I played my part perfectly, laughing at Tom's jokes, asking Leo about school, and complimenting Jessica on her cooking. But beneath the surface, I was watching her every move, searching for cracks in her facade. As we sat down to eat, Jessica brought up my finances, just as Sam predicted. "Dad, I was looking over your accounts again. The market's been so unpredictable lately. I think we should move some of your investments into safer options. I can handle the paperwork for you, if you'd like." I nodded, feigning gratitude. "Thank you, sweetheart. I don't know what I'd do without you." Inside, my stomach churned. I pressed the small recorder in my pocket, hoping to capture every word. After dinner, Jessica suggested we go over some documents in her office. I agreed, following her down the hall. She pulled out a folder, flipping through statements and forms, her tone gentle but insistent. "It's just easier if I take care of these things, Dad. You don't need to worry." I asked innocent questions, pretending to be confused about a few details. She reassured me, her answers smooth and practiced. But I noticed her eyes flicker when I mentioned a recent withdrawal I'd forgotten about. She quickly changed the subject, offering me dessert. Back in the living room, I excused myself to use the restroom and quietly checked her office. I found a locked drawer in her desk that I'd never seen before. I made a mental note to mention it to Sam. If there were forged documents or evidence of her betrayal, that's where she'd keep them. The next day, I met with Sam and handed over the recording. He listened carefully, nodding. "She's careful, but she slipped up when you mentioned that withdrawal. We'll need more, but this is a start." We devised a plan. I would continue to play the trusting father, giving Jessica more opportunities to reveal herself. Meanwhile, Sam would work with a forensic accountant to trace the missing funds and subpoena the banks for original records. If we could catch her forging my signature or moving money, we'd have everything we needed. Every day felt like walking a tightrope. One wrong move, and Jessica would know I was onto her. But with each passing day, I grew more confident. The evidence was piling up, and soon her web of lies would unravel. But when the day finally came to confront her, everything changed. The confrontation happened on a rainy Thursday evening. Sam and the forensic accountant had finished their investigation. The evidence was overwhelming: forged signatures, falsified statements, and a clear trail of stolen funds leading straight to Jessica's secret account. We arranged a meeting at Sam's office, inviting Jessica under the pretense of updating my will. She arrived, confident and unsuspecting. As she sat across from me, Sam laid out the document: the bank records, emails, and the audio recording from that dinner. Jessica's face drained of color as the truth became undeniable. "Jessica," Sam said quietly, "we know everything. You've betrayed your father's trust, and you've committed a crime." For a moment, she tried to deny it, but the evidence was too strong. Tears welled in her eyes, but I felt no satisfaction, only a deep, aching sadness. "Why, Jessica?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Why would you do this to your own family?" She had no answer. The silence in the room was heavier than any words. Sam explained the consequences: criminal charges, restitution, and the loss of her power of attorney. The law would handle the rest. Justice at last was being served. In the weeks that followed, I rebuilt my life. I changed my accounts, reconnected with old friends, and found comfort in Leo's innocent laughter. Jessica faced the consequences of her actions, and the family drama that had nearly destroyed me became a lesson in resilience. Sometimes the deepest betrayals come from those we love most. But in the end, truth prevails, and karma finds its way. Tell me, do you think this revenge was fair, or did she deserve even worse?